Has Robert F. Kennedy Jr. just betrayed the very movement that fought for his seat at the table? For years, Kennedy has been the loudest voice in the room against pharmaceutical immunity and the corporate capture of our health agencies. But a new, controversial decision by the HHS Secretary has left his staunchest supporters questioning if he is still the man they thought they knew. Before we continue, if you want to stay on top of everything happening in U.S. politics, hit that subscribe button right now and leave a like. It really helps this channel grow and ensures you don't miss any of our deep dive analysis on the shifting landscape in Washington. The situation centers on a recent, relatively quiet move by Kennedy to extend liability protections for drug makers working on treatments for the Andes hantavirus strain. Late last week, the Department of Health and Human Services signed an extension of legal protections through July 18th for manufacturers and distributors of the experimental antiviral drug favipiravir. Now, for the average person, this might sound like standard administrative bureaucracia routine step in preparing for a potential health emergency. But for the Make America Healthy Again activists who spent the last year marching, organizing, and campaigning for Kennedy specifically to end the era of corporate immunity, this is seen as a major red flag. The legal mechanism in question is a public readiness and emergency preparedness declaration. In essence, it shields pharmaceutical companies from lawsuits if their products cause injury or negative side effects during a declared health crisis. Historically, this is the exact type of policy that Kennedy campaigned against. He has long argued that when companies are stripped of the fear of litigation, they lose the incentive to ensure product safety, effectively creating a get-out-of-jail-free card for Big Pharma. The pushback was almost immediate. Activists who viewed Kennedy as the ultimate watchdog have started to voice their anger across social media, questioning why one of his first major acts would involve extending the very shield he spent decades criticizing. Kennedy, for his part, has pushed back against these claims. His office suggests that this is a surgical, necessary move to ensure that potential treatments for a lethal virus can move forward without the threat of legal gridlock, arguing that the protection is limited to specific experimental treatments and not a blank check for the entire industry. But here is the real analysis. This isn't just about a virus treatment. It is about the politics of pragmatism versus the politics of principle. Kennedy is no longer a fringe activist. He is the head of the most powerful health agency in the world. He is now faced with the reality that being a critic on the outside is vastly different from being the administrator on the inside. When you are the one responsible for preventing an epidemic, the calculus changes. The outcome of this situation could dictate the future of the MAHA movement. If Kennedy is seen as folding to the same industry pressures he once vowed to dismantle, he risks fracturing his coalition. However, if he manages to navigate this successfully, he might prove that he is capable of balancing hardline skepticism with the practical requirements of governing a nation. This puts Kennedy in a precarious position. He is trying to keep the pharmaceutical industry on board, while simultaneously proving to his voters that he hasn't lost his way. The question is, can he do both? Or is he inevitably headed toward a breaking point with his own grassroots base? So what do you think about this? Is Kennedy being a pragmatic leader? Or has he already begun to surrender his values to the DC establishment? Drop your opinion in the comments below. I read every single one, and I want to hear your perspective on this brewing controversy. This is a defining moment for the new administration. We are watching closely to see if this is just an isolated administrative necessity or a sign of things to come. Regardless of where you stand, the tension is palpable, and the next few months will be critical in determining whether Kennedy can maintain the trust of those who brought him to power. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned as we continue to track this story as it develops.